Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. Today I will be making a family tree sign. So I created all of this artwork in Illustrator and I always print off a design first. And here's a little tip, just print it in really light grayscale so you don't use as much ink when you're doing your test print. But I just printed it on 11 by 17 regular printer paper, measured it all out to make sure the size was correct, and it looks good. Alright, so the supplies that you're going to be needing for a project like this are a large sign, and I got this one from our local craft shop. And then I also picked up this wooden little family sign that I'm going to incorporate with my stencil to give it a little more interest. And then of course I have my imaged Ikonart textile stencils. So I use the textile stencils on a wood project like this because they're a little more sticky than the blue ones, and I just find that they work better on this kind of material. And then you'll need your chalk paste. I didn't have the exact color that I wanted, so I mixed together my Prima one along with my Tucker Trade Company black to give a darker gray. And then my, of course, Squeegee. And that should be it. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut apart my stencils. And I wanted to fit everything on 2 stencils, so it's a little bit close to the edge. A little bit snug, so I might end up taping off my stencil. So I'll just remove the backing. So I always like to huff on the back of my stencils just to give it a little extra tackiness. I mean, it's already sticky, but I like to just make it even more sticky by doing that. And then I'll just center it on my sign. About where I want it. And then push down on it to activate the adhesive even more. And you can see how close to the edge of my artwork my stencil is, so I'm just going to use a little bit of masking tape. Just because I don't trust myself. You can use painter's tape or masking tape or whatever, really. So this step is completely optional. You don't have to do this, but I'm just choosing to do this so that I make sure I don't get any chalk paste on my board outside of my stencil. All right, then I'm just going to take the chalk paste that I mixed up, and I already tested the color to make sure that I liked it. And I'll just add it to my stencil. And then I'll use my squeegee to pull it across. You just want to make sure that you get all the open areas. And I just wipe off my excess. And lift it up. Alright, now I'll just continue placing the rest of my stencils on the board the same way. Alright, so overall I'm super happy with how this turned out. Looks really good. There's only a few spots I have to try to fix, and this is one of them. And then down here, I ended up looking a little distressed. And I think what happened is I just didn't work fast enough, and chalk paste dries super fast. So you have to work really quick. So what I'm doing is making another stencil that has more border around it, and I'm going to see if that works better. And I'm going to try to go over the top of this. Up here, I am going to try to wipe that off and redo it. So we'll see what happens. Alright, so this bottom part right here didn't turn out exactly how I wanted it to. It's just, I think I worked too slowly, so a lot of the chalk paste pulled up in areas. When you're working with chalk paste, you have to work really fast with your stencils, because otherwise the paste will lift up when you lift up your stencil, and it will stay in the mesh. So I remade my stencil with a little more border around it so I didn't have to tape it, hoping that would help. So I'm going to attempt to line up my stencil over the top of this stencil and hope for the best. And then another thing I'm going to do, since it's a long stencil, what happened before when I was pulling this way is that by the time I got down here, because I had this all taped down, my film wrinkled just a little bit. So what I'm going to do this time is put my paint in the middle and go out from both directions rather than start over here. It shouldn't matter, but we'll just try it. Oh yeah, that is much, much better. All right, so I have two more spots to fix. My didn't show up here, and Debbie, and then I had to scrape off a name. I had some bleed under the name Aspen right here. So I just washed my stencils and dried them, and I am going to
just fix these two spots quick.
perfect.